The enduring question of our beginnings: where do we come from? This question has echoed through the ages, pondered by philosophers, theologians and scientists alike. It's a question that strikes at the heart of our existence, our place in the universe. Two main narratives emerge: evolution, a scientific theory explaining life's diversity through gradual development over millions of years, and creationism, a belief rooted in religious texts that attribute the origin of life to a supernatural creator. This essay delves into these contrasting perspectives, exploring the evidence and arguments that underpin each view. We will journey through the scientific evidence supporting evolution, from the fossil record to the intricate workings of DNA. We will also examine the theological and philosophical foundations of creationism, drawing insights from religious texts and the concept of intelligent design. Our exploration will not shy away from the historical conflicts that have arisen when these two worldviews clashed, from the Galileo affair to the Scopes monkey trial. We will also highlight instances where dialogue and understanding have bridged the divide between science and religion. Ultimately, this essay aims to provide a balanced and respectful analysis of this enduring debate, encouraging readers to contemplate the origins of life and the relationship between science and faith. Unveiling the tapestry of life, the evolutionary perspective. Evolution, a cornerstone of modern biology, proposes that all life on Earth shares a common ancestor. This theory, far from being a single idea, is a complex tapestry woven from multiple lines of evidence. At its heart lies the concept of natural selection, the driving force behind this grand narrative of life. Natural selection posits that individuals within a population exhibit variations in their traits. Some traits prove advantageous in specific environments, increasing an organism's chances of survival and reproduction. These beneficial traits are then passed on to their offspring, becoming more common over generations. This process, occurring over vast stretches of time, can lead to the emergence of new species. The accumulation of small changes driven by natural selection gradually transforms populations, adapting them to their environments and giving rise to the incredible diversity of life we see today. In the beginning, the creationist narrative. Creationism, in its various forms, offers an alternative explanation for the origin of life, one rooted in religious faith and the belief in a supernatural creator. This view finds its foundation in sacred texts, such as the Bible's book of Genesis, which describe the creation of the universe and all living things by a divine being. While interpretations of creationism vary, a common thread is the rejection of evolution as the primary mechanism for life's diversity. Some creationists adhere to a literal interpretation of Genesis, believing that the Earth is relatively young and that God created all species in their current forms. Others, accepting scientific evidence for an older Earth, propose that God intervened at specific points in history to guide the development of life. This perspective, often referred to as theistic evolution, seeks to reconcile religious beliefs with scientific findings. When worldviews collide, historical clashes and resolutions, the relationship between science and religion has been marked by periods of both harmony and conflict. The clash between evolutionary theory and creationist beliefs exemplifies this complex interplay. One of the most famous confrontations was the Galileo affair in the 17th century. Galileo Galilei, an Italian astronomer, championed the heliocentric model of the solar system, which contradicted the prevailing geocentric view supported by the Catholic Church. This challenge to religious dogma led to Galileo's condemnation and house arrest. The Galileo affair highlighted the tensions that can arise when scientific discoveries challenge established religious interpretations. Another pivotal moment was the Scopes monkey trial of 1925. John Scopes, a high school teacher, was put on trial for teaching evolution in a Tennessee public school, violating a state law that prohibited the teaching of any theory contradicting the biblical account of creation. The trial became a media spectacle, symbolizing the broader conflict between modernism and traditionalism in American society. Section 5, Darwin's Hammer, Fossils, and the Story They Tell. Fossils, the preserved remains or traces of ancient life, provide compelling evidence for evolution. They offer a glimpse into the past, revealing a progression of life forms over millions of years. The fossil record, though incomplete, paints a picture of gradual change, with simpler organisms appearing earlier in Earth's history and more complex life forms emerging later. Transitional fossils, representing intermediate stages between ancestral and descendant species, are particularly significant. These fossils demonstrate the evolutionary links between different groups of organisms. One iconic example is Archaeopteryx, a creature with both reptilian and avian features, bridging the gap between dinosaurs and birds. The fossil record also reveals patterns of extinction, with countless species disappearing from Earth throughout history. These extinctions, often driven by environmental changes, highlight the dynamic nature of life on our planet and the constant interplay between organisms and their surroundings. Section 6. The language of life, DNA and the unity of all beings. The discovery of DNA, the molecule that carries genetic information, revolutionized our understanding of life and provided further support for evolution. DNA analysis reveals striking similarities in the genetic makeup of all living things, underscoring the concept of common ancestry. The more closely related two species are, the more similar their DNA sequences. Humans and chimpanzees, for example, share about 98.8% of their DNA, reflecting our close evolutionary relationship. These genetic similarities extend across the entire tree of life, from bacteria to plants to animals. Furthermore, DNA analysis has allowed scientists to construct phylogenetic trees, branching diagrams that depict the evolutionary relationships among different species based on their genetic relatedness. These trees, corroborated by fossil evidence, provide a comprehensive view of life's history and the interconnectedness of all living things. Section 7. Beyond fossils and genes, more clues of evolution. The evidence for evolution extends beyond fossils and DNA, encompassing a wide range of biological phenomena. Comparative anatomy, the study of similarities and differences in the anatomical structures of different organisms, reveals striking patterns that support common ancestry. Homologous structures, such as the forelimbs of humans, bats and whales, share a similar underlying structure despite their different functions. These shared structures suggest that these diverse organisms evolved from a common ancestor that possessed the same basic body plan. Embryology, the study of embryonic development, also provides clues to evolutionary relationships. Vertebrate embryos, for example, share remarkably similar developmental stages, even if they diverge significantly in their adult forms. These shared developmental pathways point to a common evolutionary history. Section 8. The Genesis account, literal truth or allegorical wisdom. The book of Genesis, particularly the creation account in the first two chapters, holds profound religious significance for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. While many creationists interpret these texts literally, others view them as allegorical or metaphorical narratives conveying deeper spiritual truths. Literal interpretations often emphasize the 6 days of creation, the special creation of humans in God's image, and the historicity of Adam and Eve. This perspective often leads to a young Earth creationism, rejecting scientific evidence for an ancient universe and the gradual evolution of life. Allegorical interpretations, on the other hand, focus on the theological and ethical messages embedded in the Genesis account. They may view the creation story as a poetic depiction of God's power and wisdom, highlighting the dependence of humanity on the divine. Section 9. Intelligent design. A bridge between science and faith. Intelligent design ID emerged as an alternative to both evolution and traditional creationism, seeking to bridge the gap between scientific and religious perspectives. ID proponents argue that certain features of the natural world, such as the complexity of the cell or the intricate workings of the human eye, are best explained by the intervention of an intelligent designer. They contend that these features exhibit irreducible complexity, meaning they are too complex to have arisen through gradual evolutionary processes. ID proponents do not necessarily identify the designer with a specific deity, although some proponents link it to the God of the Bible. Critics of ID argue that it is not a scientific theory, but rather a form of creationism disguised as science. They point out that ID proponents have not proposed any testable hypotheses or conducted any scientific research to support their claims. Section 10. Coexistence or conflict, seeking common ground. The debate between evolution and creationism raises fundamental questions about the nature of science, the role of faith, and the relationship between the two. While these perspectives may seem irreconcilable, there are areas where dialogue and understanding can foster coexistence rather than conflict. One approach is to recognize the distinct but complementary roles of science and religion. Science excels at explaining the natural world through observation, experimentation, and the development of testable theories. Religion, on the other hand, addresses questions of ultimate meaning, purpose, and morality, providing spiritual guidance and ethical frameworks. Another avenue for dialogue is to explore interpretations of religious texts that allow for both scientific understanding and religious faith. This may involve recognizing the symbolic or metaphorical nature of some scriptural passages, allowing for a harmonious coexistence of scientific and religious perspectives.